build a cohesiveness, to build a work ethic and a standard that can help us be successful. And so we're excited to continue our prep this week. It's always good to start the season to be able to have some extra practices, to be able to get through some of the things, not only for the first opponent, but obviously the wide varieties of offenses and defenses and structures and special teams that we'll see throughout the course of the season. Really got some things dialed in this week that we will work on to get ourselves prepared as we make this trip to Seattle for this first opportunity. That being said, we'll open up questions for you guys.
Andy, just the opportunity. You get a chance week one in this setting against a team with that ranking. It feels like the program could be on the verge of doing what it's known for. These situations, beating teams, underdog, all that stuff. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, no, the guys are excited, about this season. They're excited about the opportunities we have. We do have a tough schedule. Obviously, it's one game, 1 week, 1 day at a time mentality. But having the opportunity to go on the road in the opening week and play the number 10 team in the nation, you don't always get that. And so it calls for a great deal of preparation, obviously, and focus and discipline. And really, at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, is to play our best on Saturday. How focused will we keep it? Will we keep it about the main things this week? And this is where these are the things that are important: the maturity of our team, the guys that have been here in the past, and understanding what does it look like when we have been successful in opportunities like this, and what will it take? And so those are the things that we've been working to build into our team at an earlier stage this year, all throughout the course of camp, and now obviously, like we said, adjusting into game week. And what does this really look like? Yeah, so they're obviously very efficient. They're the number one pass offense in the nation last year, and pretty high in total defense as well, or total offense as well. And really, it starts with the whole operation. There's a lot of offense to defend, and especially from a formation standpoint. The amount of formations, the amount of shifts and movers you get in the pre-snap, and then obviously the personnel. They use their personnel well. The quarterback is extremely efficient, in the pass game in terms of getting the ball out and staying on schedule within the pass game. And they've got an experienced O-line. I know not all the starters from last year are back, but they got plenty of guys that have played a lot of football for them and have been really good players.
When your defense goes up against an offense like that, does that give them a little more excitement? Does that kind of put, I know they're going to be prepared no matter what, but does that give them an extra kind of tap in their step almost? Yeah,
and that's the trap, you get into, and if it's not the same process week in and week out, that can lead to a trap, as we go throughout the course of the year. So the excitement and every opportunity we get, we work year round. We work 8 months to get to this point, to have the opportunity to play our game. So the excitement to take advantage and work to be our best throughout the course of the week, and each one of these opportunities this season is going to be vital. The consistency that we have within that will allow us to accomplish our goal.
Yeah, we talked about their offense, but what do you see from their defense, obviously, especially on the edge? They got some great talent.
Defensive front that is shown to play very physical. A defensive front that is capable of aligning in multiple fronts, being able to, again, much like their offense, they present a bunch of different things in the pre-snap. The defense is going to do that too, in terms of front structures, pressures, simulated pressures, and then obviously they got some length and speed in the secondary that they're going to be able to cover the field with.
There's one true evaluator in this game, and that is game day. How eager are you to see what this all adds up, what this looks like, and to go against somebody that's not yourselves?
Yeah, there's no question. It's the first week of the season, and you've gone against each other for the course of, again, in the previous 8 months of preparation. And so now what does it look like, to be able to go up against someone else that only so happens to be this number 10 team in the nation on the road in their house? So we're excited to see how our guys handle the environment, There's certain things obviously you can do to create noise and all those things. But at the end of the day, it's time to step into an environment like that and let our guys feel what it feels like and see them respond and see them compete. They've worked tremendously hard. They've been focused. They understand the difficulties that are going to come with that and the things, of course, throughout the course of this week, especially from an offensive standpoint in dealing with the level of noise while we're on offense is going to be a critical component within the game to keep ourselves in rhythm.
You have 3 quarterbacks with somewhat inconsistent track records about availability. They have 2 All-American wide receivers. How do you see that battle?
Yeah, I mean, they got one of the best wide receiver cores in the nation. So, it's not just the quarterback. It's the whole passing game altogether. That's going to be a huge part of the game. Again, they're the #1 pass offense in the nation for a reason. Mind you, they've only, they gave up, some of the fewest amount of sacks last year, and while they do pass the ball a fair amount. So, that tells you that they do a good job taking care of the quarterback. The quarterback does get the ball out on time, and he's got plenty of guys to spread the ball around to.
You mentioned the noise for the offense. I mean, in terms of the depth chart here, you got 2 freshmen starting on the line on Saturday. What did you see from the line during camp, and I guess your 2 young guys that you felt confident putting them in this spot going into Saturday?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of college football. I mean, we're going to play on the road, and we have, all the games, everyone matters equally the same. I mean, over the course of the year, if you're going to accomplish your goal, obviously going on the road presents different challenges that guys, from the standpoint of having the home field advantage or not. And so, we've been working these mechanisms throughout the course of fall camp. And obviously to create the environment, it's not going to be exactly the same, but we feel pretty confident in these guys. They're going to be in the fight the whole game. I mean, it's a defensive front that was very productive last year. They created a lot of havoc on the offenses they played. And again, when you walk in and play the #10 team in the nation, it's to be expected.
What did Cade and Roger do to put in spots right there?
They perform consistently, pretty well in terms of their overall growth, especially from last year. It's awesome to see that some of the young talent that we've been able to recruit and develop is going to get their opportunity to play. I mean, again, like we talked about, it's not only their opportunity to play, but it's a huge challenge being that it's the #10 team in the nation right out the gates.
How much do you think the 2 guys, Casey and Carrion, played a game or 2 last year? How much does that kind of help them?
Way more than not have played any, right? And so that's the piece of it. It's, some of the packages that Cage was in last year over the course of the season, his athleticism, being able to bank reps and handle, and part of the experience is banking reps and being able to identify certain things in a very short, quick amount of time and handle the communication within the front, be able to react, and then obviously that competitive nature that goes in. Cage's worked diligently against the defensive front that we have, not only this year but last year, and so as a first-year starter, obviously it's not the easiest task in the world. But we're super excited about what he brings to the table and the future he'll have.
Washington running back Dylan Johnson said earlier this month, quote, "I feel like we have the best offense in the country." From what you've seen and scouted so far, could you be right?
The numbers from last year show that. So, I mean, as we just stated, they're one of the most efficient offenses in the nation, and it's collective. I mean, again, it's they got a good offensive line, a big offensive line that is mobile, and they got one of the best returning quarterbacks in the nation with the wide receiver core that we just spoke on.
Garrett was pretty versatile last year, playing a couple different spots, but didn't play center. I mean, what did you see from him over the fall that allowed him to earn that spot?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't play center in a game last year, but he practiced multiple times playing center. So it's like one of those things that we're talking about. It's not always what we see on game day, but over the course of the preparation throughout the course of the year. And Garrett has the most experience out of everybody and is one of the best leaders and has helped build the mentality of this offensive line. So a guy that we feel confident in and has really done a nice job sliding into that center role.
And just going back and listen to an interview with Rodney the last time we spoke with him, he brought up Ty's name, and Ty shows up on the depth chart today. What has he done as a kid that hasn't been here that long to
Yeah, I mean, it's just his competitive nature, how smart he is, his diligence, his maturity. I mean, a lot of times what it comes down to for a freshman, a true freshman, being able to play is their maturity and their ability to handle the process of being in college and what this looks like. Obviously, they have to have a skill set that is developed enough to be able to compete at an elite level, and it's awesome to see. Again, we have guys that we've recruited in the last couple years that, are going to be more than a few, not just the couple that may be on the depth chart, and the few that will travel with us on this first game. But Ty's done an unbelievable job making plays, whether it be on defense or it be on special teams, and it's fun to see him. I mean, he has a burst and he has a twitch and has a great feel and sense for the ball.
We've heard a lot about Andrew Simpson, all positive things this camp. Now we see him number 1 on the depth chart. How has he lived up to those praises during the fall?
Yeah, I mean, he's a very instinctual player. He obviously got a lot of experience down the stretch last season. He played a lot of football in the last half of the season that, as we spoke on with a few of these guys that, maybe they didn't go into the season as starters last year, but through the course of the year, the experience that they were able to get and what they were able to help us do last year then feeds into this offseason. And Drew's been a very productive player both in the run game and the pass game.
The D-line, we talked a lot about the scrimmage, and you said they've been coming along. How did you like how the pressure they were getting on the quarterback, and how important in this game will be for you guys to get some pressure on it?
Yeah, I mean, that's always part of disrupting the timing within the pass game is being able to get pressure on the quarterback. Again, this offense has proven last year that they're one of the best in the country at protecting the quarterback. So it will be challenging, obviously, to create that pressure, but I'm very excited about what the defensive front has done throughout the course of fall camp. The development, not only from understanding big picture schematics, but the development of individuals in terms of, guys that have been able to rush the passer, aside from the guys that have played, from Dimitri and Ahmed, but getting Tyler, Jaden Virgin, Cortez, and the host of guys getting, Cheese will have an involvement in, being in some of the sub-package stuff. So being able to develop those guys across the front, I mean, Braxton, when we talk about the interior guys, and Herb being able to do some things in the pass rush as well. So it is going to be a constant in college football, the growth from where you start in your offense and defensive fronts. I mean, that is something that is critical for the success of a team. And naturally, too, I mean, the majority of your reps where you get to do that is in practice. So having the quality of the scout teams and being able to go good on good is a huge piece of continuing to develop each side of the ball in the fronts.
College football portal, roster fluidity down. I don't know what the exact number was. I think I had 42 new players into the program. What is the key to getting those guys up to speed in such a short amount of time? Some have been here longer, I know, but that's
Right.
a lot of turnover. I don't know if you've had that many.
No, that's what college football is now. And so getting everybody on the same page, being clear and concise, eliminating the gray of exactly what does this look like, what does this process look like. There's a lot of guys that hadn't been through, a game week prep, but there's things that we do throughout the course of the year, whether it be from the mental side or the physical side, where guys are getting experience at what this looks like and what the expectation is. To be able to prepare to be our best at the end of the week. But it is different. That is a huge piece of what is college football now, is to collectively be on the same page with the process needed to be successful.
We kind of got an idea of what Taylor's like physically on the football field. Mentally, this is going to be his biggest challenge.
No question.
How do you deal with a young guy and such a huge opportunity? How's he going to be able to process this mentally?
Yeah, there's no doubt. So that's always one of the biggest deals. And it doesn't matter. Mike, it doesn't matter if this is a senior going into this environment. Going on the road to play in an environment like this, the first week of the year is always challenging. We understand, as a staff, as a team, what that looks like. So does he. And he has been very diligent within his process and how we prepare and understanding how important the details are and the consistency of practice, given the elements will be different when we get there. We can simulate some stuff here, but the elements will be will be different when we get into that stadium and that ball's kicked off. So being able to be extremely efficient at practice so that we can overcome the new variables once we get in there. Very confident, in his approach and how he's been able to have that next play mentality. It's going to be critical that, we stay on time in the pass game, that we're able to move on to the next play, if the look isn't right, and be able to keep ourselves on pace and get in rhythm.
What's the best play you've seen Prince make the last month?
The best play I've seen Prince make in the last month. I think I would say that, he's obviously had a fair amount of catches, being that we've come out of fall camp. A lot of the wide receivers have, but he's, as a young wide receiver with his length and size, he's pretty exceptional. And in the down the field routes, I can't sit here and after 15 practices call out one best play that he's made, but pretty excited about what he adds to the passing game as a young guy.
The first game, I know tackling sometimes for both teams is an issue. You don't
No question.
Fall camp, but do you have any sense of that, or do you just kind of go into the game and you practice your techniques and everything, and you just see what it looks like, or how much have you gotten to do, and how do you feel about that?
Yeah, that's always a priority. I mean, ball security and tackling are always priorities on top of going into an environment when you're going to play on the road, right? The line of scrimmage, it's always how will we adjust to being on the road? As we spoke about, there's a lot of new guys in the program and going into this type of environment. How will you play at the line of scrimmage and handle yourself and win that battle at the line of scrimmage? Obviously, who creates and who eliminates explosive plays, tackling and taking care of the ball is usually a big part of that. And so those are always the critical elements. And we've, we work to be extremely diligent with that, whether it be in controlled settings and working tackling, in various ways, whether it's in using equipment or tackling on bodies to, obviously the limited amount of tackling within scrimmage settings and things like that.
Since 1999, Boise State's 3-5 in season openers against ranked opponents. Regardless of the outcome this Saturday, how does playing in a high-caliber game like this and an opener benefit the team long term?
Yeah, it's a huge challenge. I mean, we're going to get to learn, a lot from this preparation, going into this environment, taking on this challenge. Obviously, playing one of the premier teams for this season in the opening game is going to provide us with an experience and an opportunity to grow forward. And it being this early on in the season, this team has been unbelievable all throughout the course of the year about the hunger to learn and grow and to do the things necessary. And so there will be, obviously, being the first game, we're going to come out of this game and there's going to be plenty of things that we need to grow at. Going into this game, obviously the goal is a building and earn a certain level of confidence through our preparation that is going to withstand when we walk into that stadium and obviously take on this challenge.
Quarterbacks usually have
Yeah.
their own kind of boxier attitude. What is it about Jalen Clark's makeup that makes him good for that position?
Yeah, I mean, they call it being on an island for a reason. A lot of times you're going to play this position and be in some situations where there's not a lot of bodies around you and helping coverage. Now, we try to eliminate as much of that as possible, but there's naturally going to be those situations when you play cornerback. You got to be an elite competitor inside. You've got to have the confidence and the discipline to be able to win one-on-one battles constantly throughout the course of a game, and have the next play mentality when things don't go well. There's going to be more opportunities, and for him as a young DB, we're excited to see him continue to grow. He's very talented. He does have a lot of ability. Obviously, as we've spoken on, he's one of those guys that got playing time at the end of last year, and that experience will help him grow forward this season quickly.
At the other corner position, you have an or mentioned or listed as either Nohe or Callan. Just how much have they pushed each other, and how competitive has that competition been?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are both veterans within the program. They know the game very well. It's great to have those guys, and you got two guys that know what they're doing. They're reliable. I mean, he's played a lot of football at this point too. He has been productive when he has been in the game. It's obviously great to see Markel moving around and doing the things that he's doing. So we feel good about that situation, given that we're going up against one of the better wide receiver corps in the nation this week.
The two receivers, the Dunze and McMillan, what makes them each unique? What are each of their skill sets?
Well, I would say that they line up in various positions, all over the field. It's not a typical where one guy's going to be at formationally, and so that in itself tells you that they're good at running the route tree. Whether it be the intermediate or the quick routes, their ability to transition and get out of breaks is really good. They got both of them, got all three of them. I mean, the wide receiver core in general has length that goes along with the speed and size. So that right there obviously has led to them being one of the better passing teams in the nation.
Anything else? With DJ being voted team captain in the preseason, and obviously has been a leader on this team for a while, but how much did that work out in practice through fall camp, especially on a defense that looks a lot different this year?
Yeah, it's great to have guys like that, whether it be DJ, Dimitri, Markel. Even though Markel, it's great to have him back out there, and just to have the guys like that. Herb Combs has played a lot of football for us now. I think these years have stacked up and these games have stacked up, and you see some guys out there that have, played a fair amount of football. Ahmed's played a fair amount of football out there. Tubes has played a lot of football, and then we do have guys like Drew who played a fair amount at the end of last season, but to have a guy, a middle linebacker in the middle of the field that has that game experience of what it feels like to be able to lead, operate, handle the pre-snap, get locked in, execute your assignments, and build that rhythm within the defense, that's always a huge component, of winning the pre-snap and being successful.
We talked a little bit about Emac.
Yeah.
His growth is noticeable. What type of season is he capable of having?
Yeah, we're really excited for Eric. I mean, Eric is a guy that came on in the middle of the year last year, and really, the switch went on for him in terms of what we always talk about, this process of the preparation and what it takes to be successful. And we saw his production grow from the middle of the year to the end of the year. And he's honestly, we've been talking about it's all gas, no brakes, in terms of the want to continue to find ways to build a process. And it's not just in football in here, but for a lot of these guys too, it's making sure that we're squared away outside of here with our school and our personal life so that we can be better in here. We can be better in school. And so we're proud of, EMAC in terms of the way he's, learned to organize himself in and around the facility and obviously outside, and it's led to him being productive, and we look forward to seeing that continued growth as we go throughout this year, and looking forward to seeing him, have the opportunity to be a very, very productive player for us.
I know this sounds like an injury question, but it's more broad than that. Are there expectations to see Austin Bolt early in the season?
No, not at this point. So we, obviously he's not on the depth chart. We're eager to get him back, but it's a process that obviously we got to take the right measures and make sure it's right when he gets back in there.
Kind of implied asking about him earlier, but specifically Max. Missed it, was in Germany a few months ago, and now he's on your depth chart going up to play the 10th ranked team in the country. How does he put himself in that position?
Yeah, that's college football right there. That's what, the ability to get guys on campus. He's been here, again, we talked about 8 months. When you enroll early and you come into college football early, it's so that you can prepare and get yourself ready to contribute. And Max, I mean, we're talking about more than just getting used to college football. We're talking about being in a different country. A little bit of a language barrier at times and things like that, but his work ethic and who he is as a person is awesome. Max is the type of guy that will put a smile on your face every single day when you see him. His enthusiasm, his want to, as a young player, to do right by his teammates, to know what his responsibilities are. I'm a guy that works tremendously hard day in and day out, so we're excited to see how, Max continues to grow in his career here at Boise State.
How do you bridge the language barrier at times, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, Well, in our defensive front, we got some guys that come from places outside of the United States, so we've kind of become accustomed to making sure that we're checking ourselves, that guys understand what certain words mean. And sometimes you got to hit pause and explain the English language and what a word means, or find a different word that they may understand. But that's the fun in it, is to be able to have a collective group of guys who, that's okay, because you know they care so much. It matters to them that you get to pause and work through some of those things at times.
I got a chance to talk with Lee Marks this morning, and obviously somebody you played with and coached with. He's kind of got a challenge ahead of him because they lost their starting running back. What do you expect from that running back room when you play them on Saturday?
Yeah, they got a transfer, you know, and you already spoke about the transfer that they've got in there, and it's a program that has built depth, you know, in all positions. So, you know, it's unfortunate for the situation with the running back that they lost, being that it's the beginning of the year. But I'm sure that they have guys that are very well capable, and guys that we have seen on film that you know, can help pick up the load.
Anything else? Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Friday morning? Friday morning?
Friday morning? Friday morning.
Yes.
Yes,
We all hanging out?
9 a.m., 5 minutes,
yes.
or 9:30 rather.
Friday morning, I think what time? Yeah, he'll get you the time.
Yeah.
Just before the rest of the travel spot, they're starting. Pretty time in front of you.
Big time. So it's a good year of the week already.
Okay, so I can ask.
Just be very solid.
So,
No, they're not quite yet. They raise them to do she's got now time to do this.
Oh, my wife too. And it pays off. And it pays off.
The first, like, it's okay if I come home at 8.
Yeah, nope.
79, see?
What's up, guys?
Here's the guy with
Happy Monday?
the country this week.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Happy Monday. What's up, Beach? Any questions for Jeremiah while I'm up here, too? We can knock these out real quick. Yeah. Appreciate you guys taking the time.
Questions for Spencer?
How long have you been preparing for this game in terms of that offense, and then just what are your thoughts on what you're going up against?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, obviously, you know, extremely talented offense. Think the world of Coach DeBoer and his staff, and you know, obviously playing him at Fresno and what he's done at Washington speaks for itself. And the depth they have there, from the receiving core to the O-line to the tight ends, the tailback, and obviously one of the best quarterbacks in the nation. We've been watching them. You know, we preseason opponents scout a lot of our teams throughout the summertime. Spent the majority of fall camp just focused on us and focused on what we need to grow, and especially having some younger guys in certain spots that haven't played a lot. But we are very aware, as well as our players, of the task at hand.
How much does it make it tougher when they have not one, but 2,000-yard receivers returning?
Yeah.
You can't just focus on one guy.
Yeah, I mean, and that right there is why they've had so much success. You know, when you've got multiple receivers that can create issues not only vertically but horizontally and after the catch, and you've got a quarterback that does a phenomenal job, not only accuracy and finding open receivers, does a great job creating movement in the pocket. He only was sacked 3 to 7 times, somewhere around that, the whole season, and they're the #1 passing offense in the country. So hats off to them and how he's able to not only get the ball to his receivers, but create time for himself to be able to make those throws.
So was it one of those things you were eager to turn the tape on, or not eager?
I kind of knew it was waiting for me a little bit, because I was able to watch some of their, got a lot of respect for what they do, so watch some of their games throughout the season. And then obviously jumping into preseason opponents, I kind of had a good idea what was waiting for me. So You know, we're excited about the group we got. Obviously, like I said, there's a lot of things we're excited to keep growing in, and I know our guys are excited for the task at hand, but we are very aware of what's waiting for us on Saturday.
Penix only suffered a sack in 3 games last year.
Mhm.
What does he do specifically, or is it their offensive line that just allows him to stay untouched?
Yeah. Well, Scott Huff, their O-line coach, does a phenomenal job. Run game, pass game, protections. But Penix does a phenomenal job creating space for himself. He does a great job feeling when pressure's coming to get the ball out. And he trusts his receivers, and they're on page a lot of the time to where even if he feels pressures, he's going to give one of those guys a shot, and they either come down with it or they make sure the defense doesn't. So, he's one of the best I've seen in a long time that not only actually throwing the football, which he's obviously extremely talented at, but it's just making sure he doesn't get sacked and keeps the drives moving. They do a good job staying in front of the chains, and they do a really good job picking their spots. And I think Coach DeBoer, Coach Grubb do a really good job. There's plays after plays, right? They know what they're setting up. They know how to attack you, and they've done it for a long time, and so got a lot of respect for what they do.
You talked a lot about the quarterbacks and leaving them on the island.
Yep.
And trusting them. What are the priorities for those 2, 3, 4 guys this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, that's our defense. You know, we don't want an offense to ever, especially the quarterback, to ever look out at a defense and have easy access throws. That's what we believe in. We want to, from right when he snaps that ball, he doesn't know where he's going to go with the rock. And obviously a game this week, we're playing the talented receivers you are, the quarterback we are. That's who we are. And that's in our DNA. Obviously, we're going to have switch-ups. We're going to have to have different ways to change that picture, but that's who we are. That's in our DNA. And our corners know that. Our safeties know that. Our front knows that in regards to how we can pressure and get after the quarterback. That's just who we are. And so Coach Demo, Coach Allen have done a great job with our secondary this whole offseason in the summertime because like I said, we've really focused on us. How can we be the best version of ourselves individually, then collectively as a group? Because we know what's been waiting for us September 2nd against Washington. We know the offense we're playing. We're focused on us. We're focused on our communication and eye control in the pre-snap. How can we do a great job with that? How can we be the best, most relentless team on the field? How can we tackle the right way? Because that's really how you win and lose football games or play well on defense or not. It usually comes down to that. Didn't communicate. Didn't get my eyes where they're supposed to be, missed the tackle when I should. There's going to be schematic issues. They create that. They do a great job offensively putting you in conflict. But just making sure our guys are ready to win their one-on-one and consistently moving the stress around as a defensive coordinator.
Spencer, in a perfect world, you'd love to put pressure on this guy with 4, right? What's the challenge of being able to do that with this?
Well, I mean, you just look at their season, and, they played some obviously really good defenses throughout the season, all the way from going through the Pac-12 schedule to the bowl game. And so a lot of guys tried that, and some guys had successful creating pressure. But not only does the offensive line do a really good job, like I said, is Penix does a really good job feeling that. So obviously, creating rush from 3, 4-man rush is obviously ideal, and having to find ways to create pressure to him is going to be paramount. We cannot let him be comfortable, but we got to do a good job at all levels. It's not just the D-line or the edge guys creating pressure. We got to do a good job in the back end, not having them anywhere to go with the football, so he has to choke it a little bit longer. So it's going to be that's defense. That's obviously what they're looking to avoid, but that's going to be consistently throughout the game, is the fact of mixing that up.
And at times last year, pressure was a little bit of an issue for you guys. How do you think it went in the offseason and fall camp in terms of trying to create some pressure?
Yeah, obviously just from a development standpoint, from our edge players, from our D-line to our linebackers, that's a huge part too, because there's going to be ways that you can attack protections or attack different things you're seeing from an offense, but more times than not, you have to win your one-on-one. If it's on a tailback, if it's on a tackle, and so creating development from the weight room to on the field in the summertime, just having guys that can create one-on-one wins is going to be huge. It's going to be paramount for what we do defensively. And you need that. You need to create pressure on quarterbacks. That's why, especially in the NFL, the biggest way to stop the receivers and the quarterbacks is get to the quarterback. And so that's been a huge part of emphasis for us. And I feel like we've done a good job through this summertime, through fall camp. Obviously, still excited where we're going to be growing. We're playing with a couple younger guys in certain spots, especially in regards to getting after the quarterback, but they've grown a lot.
Titus Toller came in here with a lot of experience, Big Ten program, all that. What did Milo Lopez do this last month to kind of beat him out, at least initially, for the backup spot?
Yeah. Titus is a great young man. It was awesome to get him in and going through spring ball, obviously brand new schemes, brand new stuff for him. And he's a smart football player, loves to learn, diligent, and did a good job picking it up, learning it, growing. Obviously, whenever something's new for you and you've only been in the system for, 6 to 8 months, there's always going to be things that we're excited for him to grow in. And Milo, same way. They really came in at the same time, and both were very diligent in the meeting rooms, did a good job, picking things up. And I think it just, at the end of the day, comes down to who's the most consistent. And Titus is still going to be a huge part of what we do. There for a little bit, he'd get banged up a little bit through spring, a little bit banged up in the fall camp, but getting him back healthy is a huge part. And so both those guys are going to continue to compete.
How much do you like the experience in the defensive backfield? I mean, you got 5 guys who played significantly last year for you, a 6th who would have been a starter, Markel, if not for the injury. Just going up against this offense, what do you like about your defensive backfield?
Yeah, very excited about where we've grown to, especially leaving last season with losing, J.L. Skinner, Tyreek Jones, Caleb Biggers, some of these guys that had played a lot for us. Seeing our guys operate together as a unit through spring ball, and obviously still a lot to clean up through spring ball, then through summertime, even through fall camp. Obviously, there's always things to grow in, but it's been awesome to see our guys play as a unit, because especially in the back end, they set the whole communication and umbrella for our whole defense. As long as we're all on the same page, we got a shot. The second we don't, or the communication isn't there, that's when you give up explosive plays, and that's obviously one of the number one things you can't do defensively. So outside of them individually making plays, it's been really cool just to see them as a unit know, okay, what are we trying to get done with this call? What are some things you can do in regards to checks or things we want to get done formationally, and then obviously working together.
Spencer, what stands out to you about what Jalen Clark did to get to this point now where he's a starting quarterback for you guys?
Yeah, it's been awesome to see JC grow, just not only from his time here, came in as a freshman during COVID, and just his consistent work ethic to, obviously, a lot of people didn't even know who he was for a long time. A little bit of special teams, a little bit here and there, played in a game here or there. But by the end of last season, I think guys were able to see kind of the potential that Jalen Clark had in him. Phenomenal young man, puts a smile on my face every day. Loves football, loves to be taught, wants to grow, has a good edge about himself. And so it's been cool just to see his progression over the years here, Jay, and really feel like his best football is in front of him. I mean, he's an extremely talented young man, and it's been just awesome to see, not only from the end of last season when he started playing a lot more, till how he's handled spring ball and fall camp, not only just on the field, but what it takes, the prep from the training room to the film room to actually make those plays. We talk about all the time defensively, like we want to have swagger, we want to have confidence, but that's created through your prep, and it's been really cool to see him grow in that, and he's excited for the opportunity.
Why does his character seem to connect with what it takes to play that position?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Mike, you brought up, they are on islands. We are going to be pressed, no easy access throws, and I tell them that. I'm like, guys, the best job you can do is I say bye to you when I go to the press box. When I come back down, that's the next time we talk, because you just took somebody out of game, right? That's an elite corner, obviously at all levels, but especially in our defense. And you've got to have that edge. You're going to get a ball caught on you. Something's not going to go your way, and it's how you play the next snap, especially at defensive back. The nose guard can screw up a play, and probably nobody knows. The corner messes up, everybody knows, right? And it's just that razor's edge you live on. I mean, I've told you guys this all the time. Like, we can't punt. If things don't go well, they're gonna go bad real quick, and you can't ever take points off the board. And so it's holistically, as a whole group, cornerbacks included, that's just that razor's edge you live on, to where we can't have any lulls. There can't be any, oh, you're right, coach, I forgot that you said that. Like, no, we have to be on every snap. And if something doesn't go well, the next play is the most important one. Give us a shot, tackle the guy on the one, and we'll stay in the fight and get a shot to keep swinging. But it's always about the next play. And obviously at cornerback, it has to be that. You can never lose your confidence because a ball's caught on you. And JC has a good edge about himself.
What's your favorite Jalen Clark story?
Oof. That's a great question. I don't know if any one comes to mind exactly, but I know a couple months ago, the off season, I just could always think about this with JC. He came to church with me, and my brother was there. My brother's a fireman at Boise, as you guys know, and I remember my brother met him, and he's like, "What position that guy plays?" And I'm like, "He plays corner." He's like, "That's a big old corner," and JC's just there smiling and just the sweetest guy I ever met, and But JC is that, JC is a guy that will send me motivational videos that he might see or thoughts of a coverage that, he loves football. And once again, there's still a lot of growth that JC still needs to make on and off the field, just like every player, just like me. But it's been really cool to see him grow in his time here.
How much has Andrew Simpson grown since last season?
A lot. He's grown a lot. And, Andrew, especially last season with Zeke Noah, DJ Schramm, obviously getting the majority of the run. Later on the season when Zeke got hurt against BYU, really made the switch from DJ to playing some Mike, and then Andrew coming in and playing Will. And a very talented football player. One of the better blitzers on our team, a guy that is very savvy from a run fit standpoint. But it's just been cool to see him, go from not only just being a guy that can go out there and find the ball a little bit like we did last season, now it's him growing in all it takes to be a linebacker. The communication, set in fronts, all the coverage aspects we asked for those guys. He's taken a huge step in that this offseason. And DJ Schramm has been a huge part of that, right? DJ, I don't need to talk to Andrew about what it takes to play linebacker. I tell him, watch DJ. That's how it takes. That's his process from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all the way till kickoff. Just do that, and that's really helped Andrew grow. And obviously, as a redshirt sophomore, there's still a lot of growth that's needed, but I'm excited where he's headed.
There's kind of two approaches you can take with the season opener. Throw the lesser opponent and kind of ease into it. When you get like a number 10 Washington out of the gate. What are the benefits of playing such a talented team, and what were you learning about the defense?
Yeah, I think just like anything is you come to Boise State to play in games like this. You don't try and whatever opponents put on our schedule, if it's game 1, game 2, that's the most important game. And especially for the guys here, the guys we recruit, we're excited for the challenge. I think that's the biggest thing for us. It's not about who we're playing, what they're ranked. It's Washington's game 1, so that's what we're focused on. Yes, they do happen to be one of the best offenses in the country. They do happen to be the number 10 team, and that's obviously extremely exciting, I think, for everybody in the community. But I know for us in this room, it's whoever we got, who's ever up next. And the second we're done with the Washington game, we're going to be focused on UCF. Why? Because that's the next game on our schedule. And that's really the focus for our guys, because especially there's so much outside noise sometimes in regards to either scheduling or who's coming up. You got to focus on what's at hand. We're focused on Washington because that's who we play in a week. Obviously very excited about the opportunity. We know obviously the challenge is going to be. But you come to Boise State to be able to play in these type games.
The edge rushers, and I don't think anybody's surprised to see Ahmed or Dimitri missed first, but for Jaden to be there, and Tyler and some of these other guys, what did they do to earn some playing time?
Yeah, they had a good spring, really good spring, grew and developed a lot. Coach Frazier, Coach Avalos did a good job growing those guys. And then through the summertime as well, obviously Dimitri has played a good amount for us, been banged up, but it's been awesome to see him healthy again. One of the most diligent workers I've ever been around in regards to how he preps his body and his mind to play. Ahmed Hossein, a talented young man, has played kind of in and out of games throughout his time here. It's been cool to see him kind of step into that role and be able to take more on his plate. And then Tyler, Cortez, Jaden Virgin have done a really good job throughout summer and fall, and we trust them. And that's the biggest thing for us. We need to be able to rotate guys. We need to stay fresh, especially in the fronts. And so just because on paper you're a backup or on paper you're getting these reps, like you have to be ready to play in these games. We need you to be able to. No one playing that position at the highest level, and especially all we ask of them, no one can play 85 snaps. And so we need to build that depth, and all those guys have done a really good job.
Question about Max, I guess, but what is the likelihood of a kid that, was in Germany 8 months ago can wind up on the 2 deep and play significant snaps for you guys? The likelihood of that doesn't seem too good, but he's done it.
No, I mean, and Max is, when you guys get a chance to talk to Max, I mean, he's awesome. Just, you talk about someone who is just, since he got here, and from recruiting him, when we had to get on different Zoom calls because of the time difference and you can't just hop on a phone call with him, to him getting here in January. The biggest thing that jumps out to be about Max is 2 things. Is just grateful first and foremost. I mean, everything from a protein shake after a workout to any time you spend with him. He's one of the most grateful young men I've ever been around. Thank you, Coach. I'm so thankful for this. He just doesn't take anything for granted. Just an absolute joy to be around. And then the second part, I just think of like a relentless worker. I mean, every rep, my man is going like it is the biggest thing on planet Earth. And so with being grateful and having that work ethic from January till now, he's grown and developed a ton. I don't know exactly how much weight he's put on since he's been here, but he's put on a lot of weight. His body's completely different than when he showed up in January. Coach Hilgard and his staff have done a phenomenal job with him, and he's just that humble and hungry guy. Whatever you want him to do, he's going to work his tail off to do it. And he's only lived in America for 8 months, 9 months, and so it's just been awesome to see him grow and develop that way. So now we got Max and Ahmed out there, so they're really they're fired up.
Spencer, what is this defense, I don't know, best at? What ultimately do you think this defense will be able to hang its hat?
We'll find out. You know, I mean, that's what I've told our defense, our guys in there. We use the term "prove it" with these guys because even from January, with some of the stuff we had that went well in the offseason, the success we had, it doesn't matter anymore. Now it's this defense, it's us, and we'll find out. And there's a lot of guys that we're talking about that guys are bringing up names of that maybe haven't played a lot that we're excited about, but we have to prove it. Us as a coaching staff, them as players, now we have to go out there and execute, and then we'll have a really good picture after week 1, working into week 2, kind of where we're at and things that we're excited about. Obviously, regardless how the game goes, there's going to be stuff that we're proud of. There's definitely going to be stuff that we know we need to learn and grow and to improve in the future. So it's going to be hard to speak to that right now. I know kind of there's some things that we feel we're going to be stronger at than others, but we'll see if we can do that on the biggest stage.
Can you give us a breakdown? I mean, we've heard so much about Washington's receivers, but it seems like every time we talk about them, we just group them all together like they're the same person. Can you kind of give us a breakdown of what you see on tape from those 3 top guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, all 3 of them, 11, 1, and 2, do a great job complementing each other, and Coach DeBoer, Coach Grubb do a really good job putting them in certain spots to be successful. All 3 of them are big time, potentially big time NFL football players as well. So they all have different intricacies that make them who they are. 11, they'll put him everywhere on the field. They'll even move number 1 all around. Number 2 does a great job tracking the deep ball. So I can go kind of in depth to all 3, how they complement each other. But I think the world of how they put them in certain spots to be successful. They find different ways to get them on fly movers, stack them, bunch them to where you can't get hands on them, press them. They just find ways to get all 3 of these guys in space and in different spots of the field. So it's really hard to find ways to attack them in regards to that. So all 3 are different. Obviously, 1 and 11 in regards to the numbers are the highest, but I think the world of what Polk number 2 does has had some big-time plays last season, and him coming back. So all 3 of them do a really good job.
Do you anticipate with 3 dudes like that almost having to play 3 quarterbacks more?
We'll see. I mean, we're going to the game with kind of, game 1, you never really know. You're going in with a lot of different options. Like I said, through fall camp, we're focused on us. What is our DNA as a defense? We're going to stay true to that. And we're going to focus on making sure we communicate, play with great eye control, get to the football tackle. We're going to obviously have to be ready for whatever they throw our way, and we have some answers for that. But we'll see kind of what they show up in on Saturday.
That free safety spot, when you see guys been here as long as Rodney, and then you see Ty come in, you expect this maybe a big drop-off just because of age. But what has Ty done to – what is his ability to compete like? He's obviously pushing guys that are a lot older than him.
Yeah. No, very, very excited about Ty Benefield, and obviously just what type of player he's going to be when he's here. As a true freshman to come in, and not come in early, not come in January, come in the summertime, not only pick up this defense, learn it, and then be able to make plays where you're still not swimming is big time. One of the last ones to do that from off the top of my head is probably Kakala Kaniho. So it takes a lot. It takes a lot of time in the film room, and it takes a very diligent, competitive mindset to be able to do that. So that's the first thing. I mean, also a talented young man in regards to football awareness, savvy, is long, can run, can tackle, can cover, but he's a true freshman. And so it's one of those things that there's still going to be some true freshman mistakes. That is exactly what you need, because it's very, very rare to grow without failing. You need to fail, learn from it, get hit in the mouth, and be like, okay, I can do this better. And so, but obviously as a true freshman getting ready to play snaps game 1, we've had to ramp that up. And Coach Allen's done a great job with them. but love just what Ty's about. He fits this place, the blue collar, the work ethic, falling in love with football, living in the film room. And I really think Ty Benefield, the sky's the limit for him. Obviously, as a young freshman, there's going to be some mistakes. We're going to learn and grow through those together, but excited where he's going.
Anything else? All right, thank you.
Appreciate it, guys.
What's up, guys? You guys are ready to get this game going with as much as we are. Here we go, Taylon Green. Yeah. How's everybody doing? Good.
There's been a lot of talk, obviously, about Washington's offense, but I mean, their defense obviously has some premier players, especially on the edge as well. What are you seeing from their defense?
Yeah, certainly. I think you said it. These two defensive ends will be the two best players we've probably seen in a long time here. Both are top 5 NFL type guys, and in some ways it takes away from the interior. Right, this is a great defensive line group as a whole. Again, talented group. I really don't think there's any one weak link in this starting 11, and it'll be a big challenge for us.
We should talk a lot about the continuity here, like coaches change, players change, and it all kind of stays intact. You spend a lot of time at Washington too. I'm just curious, do you notice the continuity up there that makes them successful, or maybe they don't? I don't know. But yeah, do you notice anything like that though?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think it's like-minded programs for sure. Have a great amount of respect for Kalen DeBoer. Have known him for probably 10, 12 years now. Know everything he's about, the culture, the type of coach he is. And so, I think when you get in those situations where the leadership is right, obviously it makes it really hard to leave a place. And I think that's what he'll have established there. And you look at his staff, I know those guys have been with him for 4, 5, 6, 7 years. And obviously that's a big part of it.
What is it about Kalen that makes him successful? And obviously you have a connection with him, but you look at his overall record as a head coach, and it is not far off the overall record that Chris Peterson took with him to Motley at one point in time.
Yeah, I think he's all about the right things. He always has been. He's a football coach first. I don't think he gets lost in no offense or anything, all the media stuff, and he stays focused on building great culture. He's done it as an offensive coordinator at an extremely high level. He's just a guy for me who early in my career has been somebody that I've always had a great deal of respect for, and I think he'll establish that same thing at Washington.
Husky Stadium, you've obviously done this thing before, you've seen visiting teams come in, you anticipate a silent count, what do you think, you're gonna have to operate a little differently, assuming the crowd and everything's on top of you, what's that like?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I mean, I think we've pretty much tried to hit up everybody from last year and ask them, how loud will it be? Obviously, we have the experience there. Certainly, we'll go into the game trying to operate as normal, but be prepared when that crowd noise gets going, certainly in situational football to have a plan with that cadence. But again, I think so much of it is being in a huge environment for our players, keeping it simple, allowing them to play fast and confident and withstand the initial charge, if you will.
With that said, you got 2 freshmen listed as starters on the O-line on the depth chart. I mean, what kind of challenge you balance that out with 3 pretty experienced guys, but they have 2 guys that haven't played a whole lot going into what's probably going to be obviously a very raucous crowd. What is that challenge?
Yeah, I think it's a huge challenge for sure. I think I always tell these guys, right, you spend so much time from a weight room standpoint, you spend so much time from a schematic standpoint. The biggest thing for them this week is honing into what this mental approach is going to be like for this game. This is a unbelievable environment, unbelievable city. But as we all know, right, football's football. The question for them is, can they stay locked in one play at a time, stay focused, stick to their keys? Is their mind going to be up and down? Absolutely. But I think the biggest thing for them is the awareness of that, and then just getting right back locked into one play at a time. And so that's the big overarching message, I think, offensively for these guys is handle the mental side of this game. It's going to be the reason you came to Boise is to play in games like this. But with that being said, the crowd noise, the experience, the on the road, the Seattle cannot overtake you so much. When we look back at this game, it's always going to come back to fundamentals and technique and how we execute it.
How much time of the last month you spent working on Taylor Green's mental game for this moment, and how do you do that?
You know, I just think, I don't know if it's a last month thing, you know, and it's such a great question. It is. I mean, you guys have all seen it. I know I've referenced that documentary, right, with Kirk Cousins and what he's doing from a mental standpoint. And you look at him and the success he's had, right? Like, it is flat out the most important thing, in my opinion, at that position and a lot of positions, especially nowadays for these student athletes, from the standpoint of everything is out there, the media attention they get. I do think he is and you guys know him, he's a cool, calm, collected type, easygoing kid. And I think that's a huge strength of his. But I think we had an honest conversation too, where he was like, hey, Bush, I've never played in front of 75,000 people before, you know, so I think that's just going to be the thing. In game, again, having that awareness, having the good communication, the good dialogue of what it's feeling like, what it's sounding like, and can you just stay focused 75 plays.
You guys have Garrett listed at center. You know, Andy was telling us, even though, you know, we didn't see him on the field in games last year, you guys put him there, or they put him in practice last year. What have you seen from him at the center position, and how is he kind of able to move around in that role?
Yeah, I think he's such a reliable player. You know, I think at one point in his career here, he has taken snaps at every offensive line position. He's a veteran. He's mature. So he certainly, for him to have had to make that jump, you know, basically 3 weeks ago, it takes a special guy to be able to do that. But again, it's a testament to him understanding the offensive schemes, understanding the big picture at that position. What are the guards looking at? What are the tackles looking at? We're confident in him in this game.
When you look at the depth chart, don't see Mason Randolph. Is there any update on him?
You know, I'm not sure if that's been brought up or not, but
You've gotten the chance to know Eric McAllister for a little while now. You look at what he did as a big play receiver last year. It just seems like he's taking care of the little things now. What is he capable of?
yeah, I think he's capable of being a really, really big time player and playing football for a long, long time. I really do. I mean, I think it's, you look at that position, you look at the length, you look at the natural catching ability he has, certainly the top end speed. He can be as good as he wants to be. And I just think it's been, you know, extremely intentional about every rep he takes, right? The details of alignments, assignment, how am I running this route, that are going to take his game to the next level. But I just feel he's consistent day in and day out. You know, he comes with a great approach. He's got all the things at that position to play for a long, long time. And now it's just going to be, you know, more reps and playing in those environments. And we're obviously excited about his progress.
I'm glad to say about Billy. I mean, you know, as a Z now, like, I mean, he's going to get a lot of attention. And,
Yeah.
you know, he says he doesn't feel like that we've seen the best of him yet, I guess.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. I mean, you guys know Billy. I mean, Billy's somebody that, you know, if there's one or two guys that represent this organization, he's one of them. You know, he's just, he's a work-like receiver who comes in every day. And I just think, again, he's a guy that just consistently, right, throughout camp is just always there making plays. The plays he's supposed to make, he makes, and the plays that a lot of times aren't supposed to be made, he's going and making. And so he is one of the more consistent guys, I think, on the whole offense, and certainly from a leadership standpoint, somebody we rely on.
In an atmosphere like this, whatever, to be able to run the football, I mean, how important is that, and how much do you hope to lean on, you know, your running game in this game?
Yeah, certainly it's really important. You know, I think when you look at the teams that have beat these guys, when you watch UCLA, when you watch Arizona State, not making it a one-dimensional game was critical. And the other thing that jumps out to me is third down execution with both those teams. I mean, you look at, I believe UCLA was like 10 of 14, Arizona State was like 9 of 14 on third downs. Certainly going to have to execute the pass game in those situations, but you cannot be one-dimensional against a top 10 team on the road and expect to win.
I feel like we haven't talked about Steph Cobbs much, and just given that he's kind of moved to slot and could catch a ton of passes.
Yeah.
What do you like from him at slot, and how big is his ceiling this year?
Yeah, I think it's really big. I mean, I think all these receivers, right, they put themselves in position every day to continue to get better. A lot of times at that position, it's not always the case. Steph knows the game inside and out. He's tough. He's willing to do the dirty work. He tracks the ball extremely well. He's a great route runner, probably our best route runner of the bunch. And so, you know, a lot of this is just going to come down to cutting them loose and those guys staying healthy and playing fast. But I do feel strongly about all three of those guys. Their approach since I've been here has just been outstanding. And so it's about all you can ask for as a coach.
What about beyond that? I mean, a guy like Prince, I mean, we see him in practice make crazy catches every day when we're out there, and then you look at his size. I mean, what are fair expectations for a guy like that as a freshman coming in here?
Yeah, certainly, you know, the biggest thing for us with Prince is whole part whole, if you will, right? Like, we don't want to just go and throw him out there for 60 plays in his first go at this thing, right? Obviously, he's got a really good big play ability that we've seen. He's got good size, good length. So I think for us, it's all about building confidence there for him, right? It'll be a different environment for him. First game of his college career. How can he go out there with a limited number of plays, but be able to go and play fast and get some early success?
Back when, around the time you got hired here, Grant Hedrick tweeted a story about how you had written him a letter back in 2010 when you were getting deeper into your coaching career and talking about what it means to play quarterback at Boise State. Just back at that time, what compelled you to do that?
I don't know. I guess it was just a natural reaction maybe. I had heard a lot about Grant, you know, just through some mutual people, and I've always felt, right, it's so hard in life. You're at a place, you give everything you got to a place, and then you walk out and it's just like you're gone, you know. And so I just I don't know if it was a big thing. I think there was like a stack of letters. I was probably in College Park at the time at Maryland, and I might have put it on a Maryland logo, but just, you know, how happy I was for him to be able to experience this town, experience this program, and, you know, just offer, hey, if you ever need somebody that had been through it, that I was there. So.
You mentioned that this is not just going to be any game for you, and you talked about wanting your guys to just kind of feel like this and not get caught up in the environment. I mean, some could almost say your departure, you got screwed a little bit. I mean, do you have to kind of go into this and tune all that stuff out and just go into it like it's another game and not think about the atmosphere?
I don't know. I think in my coaching career, and I think with these players, there's just no tuning it out. There really isn't, right? Like I tell these guys all the time, like it's not going to be a situation you just go out there and you tune 75,000 people out and 350 boats on the water in the city and the experience. So I don't feel like maybe earlier in my career, right? We got to be aware of it. You got to take it all in. And certainly I will. I feel like I'll take every part of this trip in. This is a place that has meant a lot to me, right? You know, you'll always remember where you played at in your alma mater and follow that. But this is also a place I spent 5 years of my life at, you know, and I think won two conference championships, made a Final Four run. A lot of these players on this list, I mean, I just can't tell you how proud I am of their growth and their development. And so take it in. I mean, I think that's what every one of these players needs to do, be aware of it and understand in the game, it's football and we got to stay focused one play at a time.
We learned last week Maddox was going to be the backup quarterback. And from what Andy was saying, it sounds like, you know, it was one of those situations where, you know, going into game week, you need to name a guy. He said, you know, both Maddox and CJ were doing great things. For you, was that one of the toughest depth chart decisions you had to make on the offense?
Yeah, I think so, because in every situation, again, you guys know this, I've had experience with being a backup quarterback, right? So in those situations, like every rep is so critical. And that's the hardest thing, right? Is you look at what CJ, we felt, did this fall camp, and he has come a long, long way from if you guys were out there, right, when he just got here in the spring. And so, but also we know this, right? That guy is one play away. As a backup quarterback, you're only getting about half the reps of the starter to begin with, and it really just came down to feeling like we had to give Maddox as much reps as he could take to be ready to go.
Bush, are you gonna be up top? Are you gonna be on the sidelines? I don't know if you were ever on the sidelines as a coach.
Yeah.
Feet up there.
Yeah, no, I'll be up top. Mm-hmm.
Freshmen used to come in and you could tell that they were freshmen. You looked at Breezy Dubar and you might think he's been here for 3 years. A month into this thing, is he capable of being a contributor for you guys in some way, shape, or form?
Yeah, I think he's got a huge, huge upside here. I think that guy's got a chance to be one of the more special players that have come through this program. And similar to Prince, right? Like we want to give him a role that he feels he knows inside and out, right? Because we know for every player the anxiety is going to be going, but for those two guys in general, right, it could be through the roof. And so I would just say he's probably on the same plan there. You know, we need to get him involved, make him feel confident in knowing what he's got going, because we think his rate of development will be fast when time occurs.
Anything else? All right, thank y'all.
Appreciate you guys, man. Yeah, have a safe trip down, guys.